the moment podcast fans around the world have been waiting for. Sponsored by Glovebox. It's time for the Cease and Desist podcast.
I feel like we're about to go into a boxing match right now.
Ooh, yes we are. Welcome, Cease and Desist listeners. Today's a special episode for a couple reasons. One, we have a guest host today, Mr. Carlos Ramirez. Let's say what's up, Carlos.
How's it going, everybody? I'm actually pretty...
Welcome.
I appreciate you guys having me on here today.
Taking over for...
It's always nice to get rid of someone, especially Ryan.
Yeah, when we do get rid of them, I feel like it's our most listened to show.
They're usually really good. There's a lot of dead weight and a lot of fluff.
Do you feel every time he's on, he just like captivates the whole thing? We're trying to get a damn word in. We're
Hey,
like,
he did tell me he wanted to be a model, so I think he kind of just like wants to be the center of attention a little bit sometimes.
That's
he
okay.
likes it.
He does a good job of it.
It's not bad. I think it's pretty good.
Combo well.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's cool. This will be fun, though.
It's great. So, Carlos, I'll let you get a chance to speak a little bit more on this one, but I want to take a minute to introduce our actual guest today, Mr. Patrick Stacy, Senior Account Executive for the Kansas City Royals. Is that correct, Patrick?
That is correct.
All right,
yes.
Cool. Wanted to make sure we got
we
that.
We need a fact checker on
Yeah,
that.
we're trying to this new fact checker thing, so we'll figure out how that goes. But awesome, man. It's great to have you on. We're taking a little bit of a different turn with our show today because we usually always talk insurance because that's our industry. That's what we do every day. But your background is very interesting for us. And in speaking with Carlos, who you are good friends with, we had an opportunity to take this conversation a different way today. So I think we'll talk a little space, we'll talk a little sports, and then we'll just see how this thing goes. So first and foremost, did Carlos fill you in on how the Cease and Desist podcast works?
Just very top level. So Carlos, fill me in, man.
It's I'll do it for you, man. It's
Andy.
we do it a little different. We just kind of, and I think I said it, but we let it fly. We just say what we want, what's on our mind. Use it as a punching bag. This is an opportunity to take your stress out from the day and just let it happen. So whatever's on your mind, let it go. So
sounds good. Love it.
Carlos, what would you like to do to introduce this man today?
Well, honestly, I would love to start with the conversation of what happened this morning when everybody got it was a black hole that was reported, and then earlier today, Sean was telling us about how his daughter was trying to make the sound that it goes with. So, Sean, we're gonna have to fact check how exactly that truly happens because
I don't think anyone really knows.
Because if Patrick has the amount of experience he says he does when it comes to space, we should be able to at least get some type of fact or fiction when it comes to this.
It's a perfect.
I could recreate it. It was.
What does that sound?
It was. This is from my daughter. Woo, 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 woo.
Whoa.
Sounds good to me.
See? There we go.
Sounds pretty damn accurate.
Patrick, what's your relation to space? Tell us a little about your background, if at all, with space. Let's start there.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, guys. I see your Mars posters you have in the background there, so that's pretty cool.
There you go.
My name is Patrick Stacy. I work for the Kansas City Royals. I should say that these are all my personal opinions and not the opinions of my employer.
Fair enough.
To get that disclaimer out of the way. So this is all just, me speaking on my personal opinions here.
Nice.
I've been obsessed with space since I was 8 years old. I saw Apollo 13 in theaters with my parents, and it literally blew my mind that people rode this rocket and came back, and I was sure it was going to blow up on launch. And then I come to find out there's this whole Apollo program where people took cars to the moon and walked on the moon. And I don't know, I have been obsessed with it ever since I've been 8 years old. I went to space camp when I was 10. Awesome. I have been a space nerd since the beginning.
So hold on, let's stop you there real quick before you finish that introduction. But what do you do at space camp?
Yeah, so we went down to Cape Canaveral in Florida. So if you guys have seen Armageddon, there's a few shots where they're eating the picnic in the big engines of the Saturn V Center. That's where you are. So we spent a week down there. There's an astronaut dormitory that you get to stay in. You do all the stuff you see on TV, you're strapped into a whirly thing and you have to connect wires and your weight is offset, so you feel like you're floating, and you make model rockets. And we got to go out to the launch pad. We got to go to we saw the what they told us was the bathroom of the International Space Station being built.
Cool.
To this day, I would love to know what I actually saw being built there, because they tell a bunch of kids, "Oh, this is the bathroom where astronauts go to." but like, was I seeing like, the actual like pressure vessel? Was I seeing the tube that you pee in? Like, what was I seeing? I would love to know.
I just want to know the age range for going to space camp. Can I still go?
Yeah,
I think Glovebox used to have a team bonding at space camp.
Yeah. So sign me up to go back right now.
All right, team trip.
But they do have it. They do have an adult version of space camp, so you can go get the adult astronaut experience. You do a lot of the same things, but I think there's a lot of booze involved as well. So, so that can be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I think this would be a great experience.
I've got a very similar, experience. I remember seeing Apollo 13 in the movie theater, and then 50, 100 times after it. But
yeah,
I don't know when my love of it started, but yeah, I remember that movie big time. That was a big one.
And
I say to this day, that's still my favorite space movie because it's true. It's a true story. It's so well done. Yeah. They actually, filmed it in with the Vomit Comet, the big jumbo jet that like flies in the parabolas. So you get 90 seconds of weightlessness. You just don't see that done anymore. So yeah, it was really really well done. I love that. And I love The Martian.
The Martian. I was going to ask, what are the top like maybe 3 or 4 space movies for you?
Yeah, so I would say Apollo 13, number 1. Number 1A is The Martian. Interstellar is very good.
There we go.
Christopher Nolan with Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. What's another one? I love all the Star Wars movies. One that's it's almost like a movie. It's called The Expanse. You guys have seen that? It's on. It's a series. It's not a movie, but it's on Amazon. It's a very cool representation of what the economics of the solar system could look like 200 years from now.
Wow.
All right, so I got a question for you, Patrick. If aliens came to Earth today, how would you react? Would you want to be one of those folks that's out there with the welcoming parade, or are you running for your life like everybody else?
I'm probably running for my life. If they're intelligent enough to get here, then they're way more advanced than we are.
On top of the building in Independence Day?
Like in Independence Day, where it's like, come, welcome. That's another good space movie.
Hey,
Independence Day.
That's childhood, right?
That's a great one.
Wow.
Now for the Martian, I agree. Great movie. Did you read the book as well?
I did.
Did you read it first or second?
Second.
I read it first and then saw the movie.
Of course, which always ruins it.
Did you like the movie or the book better?
The book always is better.
Yeah, the book's great.
The book is always
I've
better.
never heard it the other way around.
We got to read more, Andy.
I know I do.
That author is fantastic. I've read a few of his books, and they're all pretty good. If you Hail Mary, he had a book like last summer. Hail Mary, did you see that?
I saw it. I've not read that one, but I heard that one was really good as well.
I enjoyed that book too.
Kind of a different style, but what'd you think of Dune?
Dune was amazing. Holy crap.
It was so
I did
complex.
not know anything about the Dune
I wanted to know more about it afterwards because I was so confused about what was happening at the end.
I read the book.
It doesn't help if you smoke marijuana watching the movie.
Oh, no. That's because it's a two-part movie.
There's so many crossovers between that and Star Wars, like the spice and just the Dune looks like Tatooine, kind of.
True.
Yeah, Dune was, I knew nothing about that going in either, and I was like blown away with that.
I just know Zendaya's in it, so that's what the only reason.
Yeah,
she's barely in it though.
Yeah, hopefully she's more in the next one.
That's what I heard. I heard she's in it a lot. In the
they got me to watch it.
Because the first part of the movie is, anyway, it's based on a book.
What about another sci-fi one, Avatar?
Yeah, so love Avatar. Have you guys seen the trailer for the new one?
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
Yeah, so that just dropped a couple of days ago.
Okay.
That should be really that should be really good.
Ryan thinks Avatar's overrated.
Now, are they going to do Avatar in 3D like they did the first one?
Yeah, I think so. There's some new step up in 3D technology.
Gosh, I hope.
And I'm very skeptical. I don't know about you guys. I'm very skeptical about 3D stuff. I don't enjoy it unless it's really well done. So
did you see
I'll
Gravity in 3D with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney? Because that movie was really good in 3D, and then I watched it at home, and it was quite terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree with you on there. I saw IMAX 3D, was blown away. People were like hating on it. I'm like, what are you talking about? It was amazing.
So good.
Then I bought it on Blu-ray, saw it at home. I'm like, oh, this wasn't that good.
This movie's terrible.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting perspective. Wow.
I like 3D. I always go to the, I don't know, there's something about the 3D I think is fun.
So let me do this. You might not be familiar with what we do here at Glovebox, but our astronaut is our kind of our mascot. We have the space theme that we use pretty often. We always get asked why that's a thing and why spaceman's even around in our branding. And truly just, we live in an antiquated industry here in insurance, and we are taking independent insurance agents to the stratosphere, into space, into that next level of what the future looks like for insurance. Given the client experience and kind of that platform in which we provide independent agents. So that said, I think, it's a good opportunity for us to kind of elaborate more on the Glovebox side of where we are with space. Sean, who was it that came up with the astronaut? Do you remember back in the day? 2019, 2018?
Is this the chance I have to take full credit for it?
Well, I'm trying to recall.
As I remember it, I think it was a joke. We were like, let's do a spaceman. And then we started thinking up like a logo, a mascot, and then we were like, we like space. Let's just use the astronaut. Let's go with it. It doesn't really matter.
Well, I can't wait where it goes to from now.
But now I see all over the place, of course, rocket ships and spaceman and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, we've stuck with it.
It's an exciting time.
From the beginning, and we're going to keep pushing that narrative.
And Carlos told us, Patrick, that you know Elon and you're very good friends with him.
No,
yes, personal friends. Yes. Yeah, right.
Let's call him in. Let's just get him in here.
Oh, gosh. So
I love your guys' branding.
Thank you.
I was showing Carlos I run this little Instagram page called Spaceflight Hub. That's at Space FLITE Hub. I started it during the pandemic because I wanted to learn the ins and outs of the Instagram and Facebook algorithm and how to effectively advertise on that platform. And in order to do that, you really need an account to tweak and mess with. So I started this account and started using the lessons I learned, and it just grew and grew and grew. And so I have almost 4,500 people now, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but considering I set out to not do that, and it's just grown organically, I'm super proud of it. But I use the SpaceX Spaceman as my branding. So when Carlos showed me your guys's, I was like, oh man, that's I love your guys' branding.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's fun.
So we're gonna have to send you some Glovebox.
Well, we can do that.
We should move on from space, but I got maybe one or two more questions because space we could go forever.
We can.
So there's a lot of times there's two types of space lovers. There's like they like the photos, they like seeing it, they're super fascinated by it, but they're not going. And then there's I'm absolutely going. I have to go. Yeah, I'll probably give up everything I own to go. That sort of person. Where do you fall there?
The latter, 100%. I am going. It's not a question. My wife is aware. It is happening. Like I will go in my lifetime. She knows. All my friends and family know. So I'm 100% going.
Well,
I'm with you.
Since you are talking to the Glovebox team, I feel like we need to actually go to the same question. Sean?
I'm in, 100% in. I've told my wife, I've told my family, my kids are now, I've already told them we're going, and they keep asking when we're going on the rocket. I'm like, just give me a few more years. The tickets are pricey, but my wife is not in. She's not in, so I'm taking the kids.
Andy, what about you?
Absolutely going. Yep, my girls are the same way. They know the solar system. They know it all. They point in the sky and they point out Saturn.
That's true. I've seen those videos of them doing it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Gabby, how are you?
I'm sorry.
Gabby,
I don't think her mic is working anyways.
Here.
Is the mic even working?
No, it should be.
There she is.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
She's the team behind the team.
Speak up.
I don't know. I don't think I'd go to space, honestly.
Boo. Push the button. Boo.
Carlos, what do you got?
Absolutely. I'm in there. All right. Even if I need to be in the luggage compartment, let me in.
We got a chance for two BOGOs right here. Maybe we can get a deal.
So talk to Elon.
All right. I will talk to Elon. My podcasting partner is a fellow Jayhawk.
Yes.
We just dropped our first episode the other day called Orbital Takes, and we just kind of do what you guys do. We kind of just spitball the current space topics, and his name is Chris Esposito, so shout out to Chris. And Chris is for sure going with me. We're going to be the first podcasters in space.
I like that a lot.
We'll see you up there.
That's awesome.
We'll be listening. You just got a listener, that's for sure.
Do you have a background in like astronomy or physics or anything, or is it more just space in general?
Just super passionate about it.
Yep.
I graduated with a degree in journalism. One of my professors at KUJ school was the head of NASA communications during the Columbia disaster. So that's about the closest that I come to having some actual training with NASA.
Let's get that professor on the show.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she could tell you some stuff. That's for sure.
That's actually so. Nick Isaacs, one of my good buddies, Nick Isaac. Shout out to Nick Isaac.
There you go,
if
Nick.
He listens, I doubt it. But his sister works for NASA. She's doing really well at NASA, and I talked to him last week when I saw the Avatar preview at Doctor Strange, and he said that she is on comms now on a rotation with the space station.
With their national
she chats with
No way.
I was like,
that's super cool.
I was like,
she's like a flight controller.
She's heavy in there, and she's getting married to someone else who's in charge of. It's not the moon mission, but they're the project manager for something for the moon mission, that whenever that is. And I was like, man. Does that make you feel like a loser at your family dinners because they are crushing it? That's a hard one to one up right there.
Yeah, a good buddy of mine, he that I grew up with, smartest guy I know, he works for Boeing, and he is an engineer. So he says he's not a rocket scientist; he's a rocket engineer. And on the new NASA rocket, the Artemis rocket, there's like a long like feed line in the front, and that's what he designed. And so he's like, yeah, this is really cool. Like everything inside a rocket is inside; you can't see it, but I designed one of the few things you can actually see on the outside of the rocket. And then when I compare myself to him, I'm like, man, just like what am I doing with my life?
Totally.
He's literally flying things to the moon, and I work for a baseball team. So,
hey, but you're hosting things that are pretty cool. Like for example, you guys do Science Day that brings out all the kids from the community so they can learn everything about that. And then I was just telling the guys before we started the podcast, you guys did a drone show recently as well.
Yeah. So, maybe a good segue into the sports section here. So we're looking at new opportunities. So we have a new ownership group here at the Royals that purchased the team a couple years ago. And this is the first real season without any sort of COVID restrictions or limited attendance or kind of anything like that, right? So we're trying new things to get fans out. And one of them was a drone show where we had 250 drones. We typically do fireworks every Friday night during the summer. And so we're swapping out a handful of those for drone shows. And it was so well received. It was so cool to see. They just kind of fly around and they make, the Royals logo, and they kind of told the story of the City Connect jerseys, which if you guys are unfamiliar, Major League Baseball and Nike teamed up to with a handful of teams each year to release an alternate jersey that harkens back to imagery of that city. And so the Royals, it's right? the city of fountains. And so everything there looks like fountains. So the drones, they look like fountains, and they kind of told the whole story of that. So it was very, very cool to see.
That's nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think we need a drone show with the space person just hovering around downtown Denver, guys.
Does that sound like a VR experience?
Ooh.
That could be cool.
Carlos, we can pull that.
That's right up your alley. You're the drone guy.
You know it. Before I moved here, I was trying to fly the drone in the office one time.
It's pretty loud in there.
Gotta get a little smaller.
I'm on a call. Shut that thing off.
They had a drone camera flying around with the other drones that were putting on the show and kind of flying in and out of them. It was super cool to see. I'll have to send you the link, Carlos. It's a very cool camera angle.
I'll eat all that up. I love it.
It's like a better version of Top Gun, like the most overrated movie ever.
Oh my gosh! How dare you? Moving on as fast as possible.
Hey, that's 2 weeks from today, by the way.
Had to do it.
Release Top Gun.
Yeah, I'll be seeing it.
What's up, Glovebox guys here. What makes a top producer at an insurance agency? Do you guys have a guess?
Service?
No, that is not what makes a top producer. And that is my point, Sean. Thank you so much for saying that. Top producers do one thing and one thing well. They produce. So all you producers out there, and over 60% of you are currently handling your service work, stop it. You need to get a digital platform to handle this for you. Get back to doing what you do best. Go hunt. Go hunt for the whales. I love it. Not the real whales, the client whales, the ones that bring in the revenue. Stop doing service work, you 60% of you insurance agents. Get Glovebox today and get back to hunting those Moby Dicks.
We should get a quick background on your transition into sports and how you got to where you are today. Let's hear it.
Yeah, sure. So I went to University of Kansas. I switched majors a couple times, finally landed on journalism, strategic communications. And when I did that, I needed to make up some course credit. And one easy way to do that, if you guys are aware, is to have an internship where you get course credit for that. And so I was looking around and I found one from the Kansas City Chiefs, who you guys are big fans of. I know, being there in Denver. And so I fell into this internship in corporate partnerships, and come to find that I love it. I'm good at it. I have a passion for it. And so while I was still in school, so that was over the summer, I continued to work game days at Arrowhead for the next couple of years while I finished up school. I also worked in the KU athletics department as a marketing intern
back in the day.
Yeah. So Carlos, I think that's where you and I initially met was in the athletics department. So I did that. I sold tickets to KU football and women's basketball, and I found out that is not something that I like to do, is cold call people. So started to look into other opportunities in sports. Upon graduation, I joined this company called Octagon, which is a big global sports marketing company. And my account that I worked on was BMW, and it was the drive for Team USA. So we drove BMWs around the West Coast. to different test drive events
cool.
to raise money for the U.S. Olympic team.
I have a former
And that
intern
is,
actually just did
to this
that.
day, probably the best job that I will ever have, because I was fresh out of college. I had a brand new 6 Series in my hand every day, driving it to up and down the West Coast. Why
awesome.
they let me do that and trust me with that, I still have no idea.
Insurance.
Yeah. They had,
That's right there.
Insurance
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, the NFL lockout was going on during that time. That ended, and the Chiefs hired me full time to be a customer relations representative. Did that for 3 years, and it just wasn't my passion like corporate partnerships is. Representing brands, connecting brands to the fans of the team I work for is my bread and butter. So I was able to go back to KU actually and go work for IMG College, which is a multimedia rights holder. Now it's called Learfield. And they run the multimedia rights for tons of universities around the country. KU, Mizzou, K-State being, 3 obvious ones. So I did basically what I do now, which is account management. Although I was a coordinator back then. Coordinating the back end of partnerships and sponsorships for KU football, KU basketball, both men's and women's, baseball, softball, track and field. While I was there, I got hired on with the Royals in 2017 to be an account manager. So I've been here ever since. I did not set out initially in college to be in sports, but just kind of fell into it. And here I am 12 years later and still loving it.
Way to go. It's a great backstory.
You missed the Royals World Series run then.
I did, yeah. So I've been in all 3 places that have had championships recently,
Series.
but none have
You missed them all.
won while I've been there.
And shout out to the Jayhawks for winning the national championship. Had to get that in there.
Rock chalk.
There you go. So for our insurance listeners, they may be curious about the partnership side, and I got to ask, do you have any core strategies that you focus on when you're connecting these brands to the Royals and kind of making that established partnership, or is it just specific or custom per brand?
It's definitely custom per brand. It's a case-by-case thing. We sit down with our brands, with our prospects, I should say, and say, okay, what is your core objectives here? Who are you trying to reach? And we sit down. We started an in-house creative agency last year called Pine Tar Collective. It's 2 longtime VML Y&R guys that are running it. And it's like literally a creative agency that's in-house. So it's like, 35, 40 people, whatever it is, full service, animation, graphics, video, audio, all that stuff. And so we're able to provide those solutions to partners now. So we can say, okay, let's sit down. I'm going to use one of my current partners as an example, Toyota. We have a whole content shoot upcoming where we're doing a traditional, sit beside somebody. We're calling it the tailgate talk, and you tell stories back and forth. But we're taking that a step further. Is we're sending somebody to Cooperstown because Buck O'Neil is getting inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Buck O'Neil is a Negro Leagues manager from here in Kansas City that should have been inducted years ago, and for whatever reason wasn't, but he is now. So we're taking that content to the next level, taking a road trip to Cooperstown, documenting the whole thing.
Very cool.
And that came to be because we sat down with Toyota, with their agency. We came up with this custom kind of partnership plan. We don't add a lot of fluff in there. Oh, sure, let's throw in this sign and throw in that hospitality and like maybe other teams do, or maybe like we used to do. But now we very much focus on, what is the most effective way to reach your core audience and activate upon your goals and objectives.
I love how you kind of bring in that experience to the consumer, not just trying to push Toyota as a brand and not just throwing up a logo somewhere, but actually using the product, taking the road trip, something that's significant right now that a lot of people can connect with. And again, kind of like harping at those tugging at the heartstrings. Tugging at the heartstrings. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Got you.
What Toyota is going on the road trip? What vehicle?
Probably a Tundra. That's the one that they're pushing the most this year. There's a new body model for the Tundra. So I don't know specifically yet, but I believe that's what it's going to be.
Not the Prius. We're not doing that.
That would be very economical.
I think everybody realizes that's not something
probably not that sexy.
The shoot was going to happen, but the road trip's off with gas prices where they're at.
Yeah. So we're taking the traditional piece of content. 2 people sitting side by side telling stories, and we're just taking that a step further now. And to be honest, I don't know if we would have thought of something like that without this in-house creative agency. We have our own ideas of what the stereotypical, traditional sports marketing assets look like. But they're like, hey, well, what if we do this instead? What if we take it a step further? And that's just where their creative minds come into play. And it really makes a difference.
I'm curious on the front end before, the prospect or before you're in the talks of, hey, let's put this campaign together. Are you guys reaching out to brands, or are they reaching out to you, or a combo of both? And if you guys are reaching out, do you have, I think where Andy was a little bit going with this, do you have some core strategies to butter people up to create that relationship? Because ultimately it's a relationship that you're creating to try to share value.
There's a trust level.
Yeah.
Everything starts with alcohol. Let's just remember that.
that is very true. Greasing the wheels a little bit with some liquor definitely helps always. So we have a new business team that goes and chases down new business. And then I am part of our partnership solutions team, where we cultivate the relationship. We dive deeper into the goals and objectives and upsell and renew those accounts. So yes, there definitely is strategy based upon learnings that we've had throughout the year. If you're a multi-year client with us that is up for renewal, we know generally what worked and what didn't work, and we can kind of tweak it from there. But new business people, right now we're trying to fill out certain categories. So for example, automotive, we feel like we're not there at an automotive. We can get more out of the automotive category. So we're going after more brands than just Chevrolet and Toyota. That's just one example.
Very cool.
Got to get Tesla on the books then.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Nice.
You
Elon.
gotta call Elon.
No.
Bring Tesla in.
You're not leveraging
This is the way to get in. It's the back door to space.
I'm going to shoot Elon a text right now. Dear Elon, do you want to be a partner of the Royals? That's how easy it is.
Just tell him to get in one of those Cybertrucks and just drive north.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, drive north from Boca Chica. Yep.
Patrick, I am trying to conceptualize our partnership opportunity between Glovebox and the Royals. I haven't come up with it yet, but we'll work on that.
Okay.
We'll get something.
Yeah. Let's talk offline.
Thinking like QR codes and fucking something there.
We get
bring your space person into the first page.
Bring your
spaceman
tangible ID card for a free hot dog.
Get a guy in a spacesuit out there, and I will make the first pitch happen.
Oh
my God! Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
I heard it.
We have gone through several different spacesuits, and we have now upped our game this last year.
We landed on one.
A fairly legitimate spacesuit that it could be a real spacesuit.
So we got some good space helmets too.
I'll let you test it out in space and see how it goes.
I don't know if it'll actually.
Put some good duct tape on that thing.
It would be good enough to put in a movie, at least. Depending on the movie.
So I got something for you on the space theme. One of our sales reps, his sister is in the running in like the top 10 for this Discovery Channel documentary. That's going to be.
I applied for that.
Oh, you did.
That means I didn't get selected.
You didn't get in. They're down to like their top 10, and so one of our sales reps. Did you know that?
Scott's sister.
His sister is.
That's amazing.
Within the top 10, and she could be going to space.
That's amazing. Yeah. Holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah, we're pumped about hearing the results of that.
Wait, what are the odds?
Yeah, so if so, she's going up in a Glovebox hoodie.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Oh, heck yeah. That is some branding opportunity right there. Yeah, I always enter my name into those things. Like the Inspiration 4 mission, that one. There's another one called Space for Humanity.
That's that 4-episode series with St. Jude. That was great.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
That was really good. That was really well made.
Yep.
Cool. Let's do this. I kind of like where we're at right now. I think this could end up being a potential 2-part series, because what I want to do is maybe bring you back for some more, potential partnership talk and maybe just business in general, because the way you do things over in that industry could fall in line with some of the things that our listeners might want to hear about.
Oh, they really do, because we both lived through it for a long time.
Yeah.
So they certainly do. One of the things from me transitioning from working in sports and all the things that Patrick did is honestly like seeing all those different processes and things that we did in college and professional sports and kind of implementing them in this industry. And honestly, I feel like it's been happening recently for me, and I feel like we'll continue to see that as I continue to stay with Glovebox and we continue to grow.
Yeah, well said.
To the final questions.
Carlos, you and I were chatting on the building of apps, right? And I remember I was part of the team that helped build the Chiefs app, and just going from like the wireframe, like this is what this box is going to do, like literally like a blueprint of what it's going to be, going from that to the actual executed app. There's a lot to be said. Building it from the ground up,
from ideation to launch. There's so much.
There's a bit more that goes into it.
We have no idea how that works.
Than you'd realize.
Still don't.
Yeah, it's a lot. So Patrick, we've got a series of questions. Hopefully I remember all of them. We can maybe ping pong them, but we ask everyone kind of the same questions. So I think we got like 4 or 5 of them. So I'll throw the first one out. Who or what are you cheering for right now? Can be anything.
I am cheering for for President Zelensky of Ukraine.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Is that the kind of answer you're looking for? Something like that?
Yeah. You could have said anything there.
Yeah. So I'm I don't know. I've been following like a lot of people the conflict in Ukraine, and Zelensky is just such a badass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm obsessed with him.
How do we get one of those presidents? I want one of them.
Okay, we can just go call him real quick.
I thought he was going to say he was going to trip
Like
the
The
Chiefs,
Rock?
and I was going to say, well, we're editing that part out.
That was
it kind of cut out there a little
bit. I figured
bit.
you just cut it out. So.
All right, here's the next one for you. What are you reading right now?
I am reading A Storm of Swords.
Okay.
I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, and just like The Martian, I am reading it after seeing it, which is weird, but I like it. The books are way better. So I'm almost finished with The Storm of Swords.
All right. Isn't that like a several book series?
Yeah. So there's like a Game of Thrones, a Clash of Kings, a Storm of Swords, and there's 2 more.
I can tell you that
I'm almost finished with the 3rd one.
I've watched Game of Thrones through and through probably 3 times, and I've never opened the book.
Why would you have watched it 3 times? That's so long.
That's a waste of time,
It's
really.
so good.
One time I think is probably
Watch it with subtitles the
good.
second time.
Subtitles?
You learn so much more. Watch everything with subtitles.
All right. What are you listening to, and what are you listening to it on? Meaning kind of the platform, the app.
Yeah, so I'm listening right now. I listen to 2 things when I work: instrumental music. So there's this guy called Para Furkuva, and it's kind of like electronic music. He's from Germany. So I listen to that on Spotify, and then I also have like a Hans Zimmer soundtrack.
Oh yes.
Just so I can kind of zone out. Interstellar soundtrack, all that stuff is
That's
very
funny.
good to just relax.
I have the Hans Zimmer playlist in Spotify on, and you listen, and you're like, God, he did all of these.
That's great.
I know,
they're all epics.
impressive.
They get you all of a sudden your heartbeat is just super elevated while you're working. And
I think you 2 might have to have a session on your own.
we might.
Chop that.
We'll wear spacesuits.
Yeah, Sean, you and I speak the same language, man.
Yeah, we're right there. Like I said, I read your bio, and I was like, did I fill this out?
Yeah.
And last question is, what are you investing in? Again, it doesn't have to be financially investing, but just whatever you haven't invested in. Time, money, resources.
I'm investing financially in a company called Rocket Lab. So they just sent a rocket up. So it's a publicly traded company based out of New Zealand, but they've recently landed some DoD contracts and NASA contracts. So they just launched one from New Zealand last week. This company's cool. They name all of their missions. It's not like Apollo 11, Apollo 12, Apollo 13. They name them cool stuff. Like one of their missions is called Another One Leaves the Crust. This mission is called There and Back Again, A Rocket's Tale, because they sent the booster up, and then they actually, when it came back down, it came back under a parachute, and they caught it with a helicopter.
Whoa.
And so that's going to prove their reusability, and it's going to be super cheap.
YouTube area.
Oh, we missed.
Wow.
What's that company called?
It's going to be super cheap launches for Department of Defense, NASA,
Cool.
the NOAA. It's going to provide opportunities for that. So they're very much on the ground level. So I'm financially investing in them.
Okay.
I would not want to be driving that helicopter.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to land in that. I'd rather land in that.
I think Gabby, our engineer, she had a question, and she actually was kind of signal.
No, I was just saying you missed one, and it's what are you watching?
You see?
Yeah.
There we go. What are you watching?
This is
And
why
what
we
are
have
you
Ryan.
watching? Yeah.
What are you
What
watching?
am I watching? The final season of Ozark.
Yes,
Oh,
me
yes.
too. I love
Hey,
it.
you did text me about that.
Yeah,
Still
so
wrote it.
fucking
I got the
great.
finale.
God, Jason
left.
Bateman
Yeah.
is fucking epic, man. He's
Don't say anything about the finale. I'm 2 episodes.
Hey,
from
I'm not
the
even
finale.
into
we're on the
episode
same
1 yet.
We're on the same episode then.
It looks like I need to do that this weekend.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
it's a great
and
show.
it's nothing. I shouldn't say that. Just a real quick story before we get out. My family had a little cabin at the Ozarks growing up, and there was this family at the bottom of the hill that reminds me very much of the Snell family, because you always stayed away from them. And this one time, my buddy and I, we thought we had big balls, and we drove our golf cart up to their driveway, and this guy was sitting at the bottom of their driveway in a folding chair. I'll never forget it. He stands up and he has a shotgun, and he goes, and we're like,
grumpy
"Yep."
old man.
And we turned around and drove away. And then when I saw Ozark and the Snell family, I'm like, "Holy shit,
Definitely
that is
that's
that family."
It was made after
And
that.
so-
It was them.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so,
The cartel is in the back.
Ozark hits home for me for sure.
I'm going
That's a
there.
good
I'm
one.
going to the Ozarks in a couple
really?
months. Yeah. Bachelor.
Oh yeah, we're
That
going to
house
bachelor
they live
party.
in when they're looking out over the water, I'm like, yeah, I could live there.
We got to go to the house.
Yeah.
Over there.
Hey, Patrick, you're gonna give us that address because Andy and I are gonna be there in August.
We'll
so
stop
we
by
might
the
have
house.
We have to stop.
I'm
by.
gonna burst your bubble. That house is actually in Georgia. They filmed that part in Georgia.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Come on.
The big aerial shots are of the Ozarks, but most of it is filmed in Georgia, unfortunately.
Okay.
Everything's a lie.
Ew.
I'm gonna
I
take the
know.
drone down
Sucks.
to the Ozarks.
I think I'm going to skip the
That'll be
finale
fun.
then. That ruined it for me. I'm out. I'm out. I'm not
I'm
watching
sorry.
it.
This is not even a real place.
Hey, you should listen to Smartless if you haven't.
I love
with
Smartless.
Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman.
What is
Sean
it? Smartless?
Yep, you
Yep.
got it. It's a Jason Bateman's podcast with Sean Hayes and Will Arnett.
I will add it to my
Yeah, that's a good one.
list right now.
People
think-
helping people.
I think the only reason I usually always say you don't know, the faster I realize I don't know anything, the faster I actually start realizing what life truly is. It's because of Smartless, because they literally
it
introduce
is.
the show as they don't know they don't know shit. So
Yeah.
they're just bringing in all those people to actually understand what it is that they're doing.
Well said. Well, that's the perfect opportunity to let you go, my friend. This was fun. This was a very cool,
Yeah,
especially
this was a
unique,
lot of fun.
unique episode for
Yeah,
us.
Patrick, thank you for hopping on. Yeah, we definitely got to do a round 2, and then we got to probably get our spaceman some pitching lessons so he
Yes.
can throw some heat.
Yeah.
God, that's
Standing
That'd be
offer.
good.
Standing offer whenever you want to get him here.
I like
I
that a
love it.
lot.
That'd
Hey,
be
let's
fun.
do a lefty.
All right, I'll get it ready.
You're tall enough.
Yep.
I'm not. I'm too short for that.
Good stuff. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Patrick. Good to have you on.
Yeah, thank you guys for the opportunity to be on here, and yeah, happy to do it anytime. And rock chalk.
There you go,
Rock
Rock Chalk.
Thanks, Patrick.
Have a lovely day.